All right, welcome to episode 100.
It almost makes me like a little, not emotional, but like, I'm like, wow, wait, this is the 100th
I can't believe
time
it.
we've done this. I know.
That's
crazy.
Episode 100 of The Bar is Ankle High, your favorite ADHD podcast that explores life's low bars with wit and wisdom. My name is Katie.
And I'm Garrett. I didn't mean to yell that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It didn't come across as yelling.
Oh, I have my headphones turned up. That's why.
Yeah.
I only yelled to myself, but sorry everybody else. It's been a day.
If you want ad-free, extended, and video episodes, as well as bonus episodes, an on-air shout-out added to our close friends list on Instagram, and goodies from us in the mail, then sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/thebarisAnkleHigh. For just $5 a month, you get all of that stuff. And the bonus episode thing is going to be pretty relevant starting like now. Because
we have a big announcement.
Yes, we do. We are changing the format of our show. So don't panic. Don't turn us off. Just listen. Are you listening?
Katie talking to Katie, and the alternate universe Katie just threw her phone.
No. What alternate universe?
What
I'm going to forget that we did this and then throw my phone when I hear the episode.
What string cheese version of me are you talking about? Tune into Patreon.
Yes. So we do have an announcement. So we are going to be switching to a seasonal format. So instead of coming at you every week without interruption,
coming at you,
just
like
flying at your face,
just like
thrown
constantly showing up
into your ear holes without any regret or hesitation. Opposite of what I just demonstrated. But we're switching to a seasonal format. So we're going to be taking seasonal breaks, which will allow us to do better and more thorough research for our episodes and give us a chance to really dive into some topics and not get burnt out and all that jazz.
If you're familiar with Hamilton, it's that take a break where she's trying to convince him to just fucking take some time off. And he's like, no, I have things to do. And she's like, just stop.
Yeah. Go
that's
away
kind of what's
for
happening.
us for the summer. Let's go upstate. We're already upstate, so we can't go any further or else we'll be in, Trump riding a T-Rex country. But anyway,
we are switching to a seasonal format.
Yes, we are taking a seasonal break after today's episode.
A much needed break.
Yes. What that means for you all is that next week there won't be a new episode. But for our Patreon members, you will be getting at least once a month a bonus episode, like our Dysfunction Junction episodes that we used to put out every month. But these could be substantive topics or random stuff that we want to talk about. But you will be getting those again every month, even when we are on a seasonal break. So there's not going to be a break in the extra content that you're getting on Patreon. So again, if you want all of that, plus the bonus episodes every month, then you can join Patreon at patreon.com/thebarisAnkleHigh. And as it stands right now, we will be coming back with episodes that will still come out when we're in season. They're still going to come out once a week. But later this year is when season 2 of The Bar is Ankle High will drop. So make sure you're following us, especially on Instagram, to be notified and keep track, and make sure you're subscribed to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, so that when a new episode does come out at the end of the year, you'll, get a little alert that a new episode has come out from us. We are still available for you to tell us topic ideas and things that you think we should look into. But again, this will just give us an opportunity to really look into those things and dive into them. And even if it's a topic that is maybe like there isn't much about it, this will give us the chance to kind of organize things and do like a bunch of little topics at once if we need to, or whatever. We're just going to have a little bit more freedom with how we're recording and organizing ourselves. So that's what we decided to do.
After 100 weeks of
Yes.
recording, researching, editing, posting, it's been busy 2 years.
Yeah. With working full time and then having one of us having a baby. And then you're going to have a baby and be working. Yeah. So we just needed to make some adjustments.
We need a little break.
So
Little
that, and our
vacation.
editor also needs time to edit
poor
our
man.
episodes.
He somehow has a day job also, and is working a lot. So
Yeah.
everybody needs a little breather, catch our breath, regroup, come back refreshed, so that we're giving you the quality content that we want to give you
Yes.
instead of spinning in space like a couple of crazy people.
Yes. Yes.
But I mean, like, what an accomplishment that we've gotten through like 2 years straight of weekly podcasting, in addition to like moving and babies and jobs and vacations and all kinds of like deaths and I mean like life events, and it's been a like whirlwind of a 2 years.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm real proud of us.
I'm very proud of us, and we've been like very consistent. Especially considering this is an ADHD podcast and everybody involved has ADHD.
Yes.
That makes it even more impressive.
I mean, yeah, most ADHD podcasts aren't as consistent as we have been. And the only way for us to stay that consistent is to change our formatting a bit.
But we talk about a lot, the need for rest. Mm-hmm. Not that I practice it, but you know.
It is still our 100th episode, and those of you that follow us on Instagram know this, but Garrett doesn't because I've been hiding our stories from her.
What? Everybody knows something but me?
Mm-hmm. So
I'm going to stop teabagging my face with this fidget thing while you tell me this.
So you're going to have to tune into Patreon to see the video, but because this episode comes out, it's our 100th episode, and it comes out the day after Garrett's birthday. I got her a kind of like going back to work birthday gift that included some fidget items from Specs, and one of those is a ball that they call a Gump, G-U-M-P, and it is Garrett's hyperfixation tool now. But she was rubbing it all over her face just now.
Yes. You could use it as a beauty blender.
For those of you that follow us on Instagram,
I'm sorry.
I had posted...
Fucking got distracted in between. Holy shit. I'm sorry.
It's really hard to surprise Garrett, guys, mostly because she stops paying attention halfway through the surprise.
You're welcome.
But I had posted to our stories that for our 100th episode, if you wanted to, you could send in a voice memo about the podcast and what it means to you, and like congrats if you wanted to. So this is our first message from a listener.
Congrats on the 100th episode. I know that putting together this podcast is not easy, and it takes a lot of time and
It's sassy.
determination, but you guys are doing it, and you're doing it well. You're both hilarious, and you're so interesting, and you provide such great content and such a good chemistry and banter. So I love this. I love you, and I hope that you keep this going. Congrats.
Oh, that made me a little teary.
I knew it would. My response to her when she sent that was, she's going to cry so good.
She is one of my dearest friends, and she 100% of the time will write me a card that makes me cry. Every single card like literally, I think every card she's ever given me I've saved because she writes the most wonderful thing. She actually, for my 30th birthday, she wrote this like 30 things that she loves about me and like drew a little picture of me with my dog, and I literally laminated it and I have it up on my wall because like there's some days like where you're having a hard time and you're like, oh, but there's other people that see these things in me, and it makes it like sometimes easier, you know? So I always like keep the stuff that she gives me because she's always like really sweet. So that, yes, that definitely made me cry. The voice notes, I love that.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a really, fun thing to get from people. So we have a few more, but I'll sprinkle them in throughout the episode.
Oh, fuck. Now I'm like, now I want to just like snort a whole line of them. Like, just hit me with more. I'm so excited.
But we do have a topic for today, which is that we are going to give each other an ADHD assessment. So do you want to be assessed first, or do you want to assess me first?
I would love to do your assessment first. Can I ask you the questions first? Okay. So, I'm so excited. Okay, the first question. Let me start over. Do you often find yourself answering a question before it's finished being asked with absolutely, definitely, probably, I mean, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, I feel like
the fact that I almost answered before you finished the asking that question.
I was like low-key hoping you would.
I was like, no, it's a test.
Wait, I'm going to put glasses on to make this more official because I'm a frog doctor. Okay. Question 2. So the answer to that was yes, you do often find yourself doing that. How often do you Jiminy Glick or squirm when you have to sit down for a long time?
Oh, like all the time.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Do you often have difficulty if you are unable to get the weird out so you don't explode? Okay, so yes. Do you go off on tangents easily?
Yes.
Okay. How often do you have difficulty concentrating on what people say to you even when they are speaking to you directly?
Like 70% of the time.
Okay. That's a lot. How
What's the normal amount?
I love these questions that I wrote. How often do you find yourself unable to stop from telling someone that what they said is stupid?
Like, how often do I have to stop myself?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how often am I surrounded by idiots?
Nope, that's not the question, Katie. The question is...
sounds like that's what the question was.
No. The question was... How often do you find yourself unable to stop from
Well, I can stop myself pretty good. Unless it's somebody that I know very well. And then I'll tell them right away.
Or unless I'm overstimulated or surrounded by idiots. The fact that you asked that follow-up question was the answer. How often does your mind drift to whale facts instead of the topic at hand?
Pretty often. I mean, you asked me if I knew about six-gilled sharks the other day or yesterday.
Those Greenland sharks.
The Greenland sharks and how long they live. And I knew right away the answer to the question.
I read this article and my mind was blown. I literally had a tab open on my phone and I was like, I'm going to keep it open. I gotta remember to ask Katie if she knows about this. Katie would love this. Because I read this and I was like, she would shit her pants. And then as soon as I went to send it, I was like, I bet she already knows. So I'm going to ask her in person. And then sure enough, yesterday I was like,
yeah, I snuck into her house.
Do you know about the Greenland shark? And she was like, yeah. They live a really long time. I was like, fuck. God damn it. So how often is often?
Often, yeah. Or facts about like something that's fully unrelated to the conversation. But
Like Harry Houdini.
yes.
Okay. How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home or at work?
Actually, before I answer, I do that a lot. I do it often, like twice a week. But speaking of fun facts, in
There we
our
go.
department meeting last week, for the entire appeals department with the principal attorney, who's like 3 people down from the head of my organization, they're she starts every meeting with like asking if anybody has like good news or went on an interesting vacation. And one of my colleagues had gone to Iceland for 11 days and had just gotten back. And
I've never
I
gone.
chimed in with, I read an article that in Iceland on their dating apps, instead of like for Tinder or whatever, like when you're out of the club, you like touch your phones together and it'll tell you how related you are to the person that you're talking to.
I did hear about
because
that.
they're
It's
so
small.
isolated. Yes.
Yeah.
That they have to check before like going home from the club with somebody. So that was the fact that I chose to share with 50 of my closest colleagues at work last week.
And then Katie went, so did you bone your cousin?
How much incesting did you do?
Okay, I do, now that we're talking about weird facts and things that we read. So I read this thing. They found footprints from, ultimately, like, through science, I guess, carbon dating and stuff. They were doing this archaeological dig, and they found footprints of a woman walking. It was like next to a lake or something. So she was like walking around the lake, like to get from one point to the other. And she had a toddler with her because there were points at which they could see like small footprints. Like she set somebody down briefly.
Are
and
we
then they
sure
could see...
it was a toddler and it wasn't Jesus carrying the woman? Because you know that story that there's 2 footsteps on the beach,
Yeah,
and
the
then there was
footprints.
one, and that was when God carried you.
Yeah, I don't... they didn't mention that in the scientific article.
Ariana
but
Grande said God is a woman, so...
I really hadn't considered any of these things. But I think
God is a woman and I am a toddler.
The takeaway is that we are due for a break, is the first thing. The second thing is they were able to tell that she was carrying the toddler because they could see her footprints without the toddler and then with the toddler, so they could tell that her footprints were a little bit deeper. And she did this walk twice. And then while she was doing that walk, they could see like there was like saber-tooth tiger footprints and like woolly mammoth footprints. So like how fucking
being
metal?
stalked?
She could have been. How fucking metal?
No,
This
she was
woman-
there with Manny and the John Leguizamo and Sid the Sloth. She was in Ice Age. There was a saber-toothed tiger and a woolly mammoth, and I bet they just needed the 3-toed sloth. Maybe she was carrying the 3-toed sloth, and that was the toddler. And she's the indigenous person that they were returning the baby to her. This is the plot of Ice Age. This is what happened. Guaranteed.
I love that the longer you went with that, the more convinced you were. And then,
I'm sorry. Are you not convinced? Because that is the fucking plot of Ice Age.
I can't believe that. My thought was how fucking metal that this lady is walking with a toddler all by herself when there's like fucking saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths and all kinds of things trying to eat her.
Yeah.
That's fucking badass.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my fun fact. How often are you distracted by activity or noise around you?
Pretty often.
Okay, and then the follow-up
work.
to that
Yeah.
is, do you find yourself ever like so distracted that you have to like take a picture and text like dog testicles to somebody?
For example.
That's okay, because I got my revenge last night while you were sleeping.
You did. I saw that message.
Katie sent a picture to our group chat
Yeah.
with no context.
Well, what context? First of all, there was a caption to the photo. I said, "Wow, look at those bottles." Which, if you've been listening to us since the beginning, you've heard the episode where Garrett told us all about going to the petting zoo and seeing the goat's bottles, by which she meant the enormous testicles on a billy goat, thinking that because Garrett called all boobs bottles. And so I sent a picture of this dog's balls that were like squished against the concrete.
That probably
and
felt
said,
so
"Wow,
good.
Look at those bottles." That's what
It was
everybody
probably
said.
so hot. Yeah, that
He's
probably
probably
felt great.
scratching his balls because it was also like sidewalk concrete, so it wasn't even soft.
Yeah, it was like textured.
Etched. But yeah, so I sent that picture to the group chat.
Yeah.
And Garrett last night, after I had gone to sleep, drew googly eyes on the balls and an open mouth, so it looked like Mr. Poopy Butthole, basically, from Rick and Morty.
And then I sent it.
Yeah.
And then I rolled over and I stared at my spouse. I was like, "Hey, why don't you check your text messages?" And he took out his phone. He was like, "That's too far. That's disgusting." Which then I felt like I won.
You did.
Right?
I thought it was funny.
Thank you. And then I was like, you know what? She's going to appreciate that. And she's sleeping right now, but man, if she was awake, she'd laugh. How often do you feel restless or fidgety? For example, do you sometimes feel the need to high kick while having a conversation?
Is it a good conversation?
There's no context for that. It's just, how often does it happen?
I mean, I'm like shaking my foot right now.
Okay.
And stimming with a pen against my forehead. So.
And kicking. How often do you find yourself talking too much about whale facts when you are in a social situation?
The normal amount.
Okay. How many plastics tubs do you need before you will have your whole life organized?
The limit does not exist.
I feel like I need a good, 20.
Yeah, I did just order more like braided bins, like that rainbow one that you have, like similar to use in my closet.
Yes.
So because I ordered some and they weren't as big as I thought they were going to be, so I had to order another set that were bigger. But
you'll use them all, so it doesn't even matter.
So
truly, bins, bury me in a tote of some kind.
Okay, we could do that.
Okay, okay, sure. So let me just do a quick calculation.
Okay.
It turns out you have ADHD. I'm sorry to break it to you. But you very much have ADHD.
This is rocking my world.
I am blindsided.
Sid the Sloth would have never done this to me.
He'd be too busy trying to carry a toddler across a fucking frozen lake. Being chased by Dennis Leary. Right? He was the saber-toothed tiger?
Yes.
Look at my memory. Sometimes it works.
All right, we have another message. This is from a listener named Jackie O'Brien, who is my sister.
So proud to be the sister of one of the amazing creators of such a funny and clever and insightful show. I have so much love for the show and both of you. Happy 100 episodes. Yay!
Oh, that was so cute. I love it. I love this. Truly, I could snort this moment.
Yeah, I knew you would. I was really pumped.
I knew you would. I knew you would say that you wanted to snort a line of it. I knew it.
Yeah. All right, it's time for you to find out if you have ADHD.
I'm so nervous. I just don't know what's going to happen.
Did you get in trouble for talking during class as a child?
It was on every report card. really nice kid, but disruptive in class.
Did you make good grades?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Did you ever play make-believe as a child?
Do I still play make-believe now? Yes.
Well, so the follow-up question is like, tell me one of your like favorite make-believe things from childhood.
Oh, from childhood?
Yeah, if you can remember.
I had a really huge box that we had gotten from something, and literally would spend the entire day with like, you give me like crayons, markers, a few of my like toys. I had a cat. I had a stuffed cat named Socks Mittens, because it was black and white and it had like white hands and feet. And I had a bear full of beans that I called Heavy Bear. And actually those two are in my daughter's room. I still have them. And they would hang out in the box and literally all day. It could be a speedboat, it could be a car, it could be a house. Like, truly, outside, like, taking bits of grass and, like, I would try and make bread with the seed from the grasses, like, everything.
Oh.
Just, you could leave me, I still, to this day, I can keep myself busy all day with bullshit. Just absolute bullshit.
So this is related to one of your presents. How often do you lose your phone in a week?
I would say 4 to 8 times a week. I lose my phone for some period of time.
Cool.
I will now only buy shorts. I pretty much live in those bicycle shorts, and buy those with the cell phone pocket, because it's the only way that I won't lose my phone or drop my phone. I do both of those things all the time, constantly.
And how do you feel when you lose your phone?
I immediately get worried that there will be an emergent situation. Something that happens when you have a baby is you start to have these really, I mean, you have them as without a baby, but you have these really intrusive thoughts like, what happens if I'm carrying the baby down the stairs and I somehow throw them? Or like I would carry the car seat down the stairs and I'd be like, what happens if I throw this car seat and the baby's in it? Or I'm bending over the dishwasher. I'm like, what happens if I drop the baby on the prongs of the dishwasher? Like, just ridiculous shit that's just like not going to happen. So that's just like my baseline all the time is these intrusive thoughts. So I'm always worried, like, I'm going to lose my phone and then my baby's going to have to go to the emergency room and I'm not going to be able to call 911. Or that I'm going to fall down the stairs. Or when your spouse leaves and you don't have a fucking car seat. Yeah, or that like I'm going to fall down the stairs and like not be found for like 8 hours. That's also an intrusive thought. So my spouse does things like putting the ladder in a place where I can't get it so that I can't accidentally do something during the day. He kind of has to like baby proof the house for me. Because I'll just get into it, whatever it is. I'll just fling myself into it and do it and
Yeah, that sounds like me.
create a problem.
Have you ever been called messy or disorganized?
Uh-huh. Actually, my second grade teacher told me I was slower than molasses in January.
Do you know why you were called those things?
Because I was a little messy and disorganized as a child. I did overcome it to a degree. I can like keep myself organized now, but as a kid.
Oh, I was going to say, do you think that losing your phone 4 to 8 times a week is an example of you being
flat,
organized?
okay? It's flat. And it doesn't make any noise because I keep it on silent.
I've overcome being disorganized. Just don't ask me where my phone is. And maybe I just was gifted a phone leash.
It's a literal leash, you guys. Patreon can see this. It's the same material as a leash.
Yes, it's very durable.
My spouse might use this like we go into Home Depot and Lowe's and I'm just off on my own adventure. And then he can't find me. And then I lose my phone. He can't call it. Yes, I lose my phone a lot, but it's flat. so it's not my fault. It gets stuck in everything and can easily hide. I lose my phone more than anything else. More than anything else in my house.
What do you do with your feet when you're sitting?
Sometimes they're on something. Sometimes they're curled up underneath me. Actually, they're kind of like curled up with me right now. Sometimes they are playing with something on the floor. Sometimes I'm playing with my shoe. I don't really bounce my leg as much as I used to. I used to be a big like leg bouncer. I don't do that as much.
I don't bounce my leg, but I do, like, if my feet are crossed, I'll shake my foot. So, like, from the ankle down, I'm, like, wiggling. But I don't, like,
do that, yeah.
if my foot is on the ground, I don't, like, do the tappy thing.
I don't either. My feet are always crossed. Always. I always have my ankles crossed at minimum.
Because you model your life after Kate Middleton?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Same.
I mean... How could
obviously
you get any other conclusion from this?
It's impossible to tell the difference. It's that thing where you wear the same hairstyle and they can't tell you apart.
Like if I like a still quick, they'd be like, "Is that?" No, it's not.
How do you feel when you're overwhelmed by loud noises?
Did you listen to our last episode? I feel like I have tunnel vision. And something sitting on my chest, and I can't think, and I feel overwhelmed, and my fight or flight reaction kicks in. And ironically, somehow I can fight and flight at the same time. It turns out.
I fight.
Just ask my spouse. Fight the flight. Oh yeah, no, I turn into the worst version of myself when there's too many noises, and I'm hot, especially.
What happens when you have to wait in a long line?
My skin becomes painful to wear on my body, and I will climb out of it. It's the worst. There was one time I sent Katie a voice note or something because I was stuck in traffic and I could see my own road.
It was like right
100
after
feet.
We started recording, like right after we started the podcast, and like the episode that had just come out was about waiting in line and like something, time management maybe or something.
Something like that.
It was like one of our first like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get this voice memo from Garet where she's like screaming into the phone.
I was
that she can
furious.
see her house but cannot get to her house because of traffic and waiting in line.
It was so stupid. I can handle waiting in line. I think it's when the line doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
I also tend to wind up in line behind people like at the grocery store that are writing a check to pay for their groceries. Like that's where. Yeah. So that face that you did. Let me tell you the interaction I had at the grocery store the last time this happened. Okay. I can't remember if I had the baby with me. Let's say for overstimulation's sake, I did.
Okay.
Got the baby on the front of me. I've done a grocery shop by myself. I'm hot. Lights, the whole 9. I'm in line, and this lady is paying with a check. And the girl working at the register is brand new. And,
and checks have always been a fucking nightmare, even when people use checks.
Correct. So she goes, "Oh, I have to go." She like basically had to have somebody like okay it.
Yeah.
Which I
because
get.
nobody knows what a check looks like anymore, so they also have to like make sure it's not, catch me if you can, fraudulent.
Well, it's like she's like a new person. She was training and wants to make sure that like she's doing it the right way. She goes, "I'll be right back," and had to get a manager or whatever. And the lady turns to me and she goes, "Must be something about like basically like this girl's new and isn't familiar with a check." And I go, I literally couldn't stop myself. I went, "I don't think anybody really pays for groceries with a check." So, and then just stared at her, and she was like.
You.
Like
honestly,
you're going to give this teenager a hard time.
That's like when people are like, "Oh, kids don't know how to make change anymore." You know what's fucking confusing for me? I can count down from 100, no problem. It's when you add in a fucking nickel or a
Pennies.
penny or something.
Fuck out of here with pennies.
Like and then you're like, oh, you can't make change? No, because you just made it weird. That's why I can't make change.
Do you remember when
If
they
you
were
could
talking
just
about getting
take
rid of
your
pennies?
change? Yes.
Yeah, I remember I got to the point where I was like, I don't want a job where I have to handle money anymore. Like I hate it. I hate it.
I mean, it's just that thing, like, it's such a boomer Gen X move
Yeah.
to like criticize a young person for not knowing analog, like, abacus methods of totaling your groceries. Like, it's
Right.
just so condescending that I have, like, that is such a fast way for me to know immediately that you are a scumbag. Like,
Yeah.
you have no grace to give to anybody. You, like, I'm sure, look at every person who's unhoused or struggling with addiction as a horrible person with significant moral failings and not somebody who's
Right.
struggling. Like,
Right.
no, I that tells me everything I need to know about you in that single moment of an interaction with somebody who's working for minimum wage. Like, nah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was just, she said that and I was like, who the fuck is paying for groceries with a check? Ma'am. Also,
Yeah.
I have to wait in front of you or wait behind you because you're paying with a check and you have coupons.
But also to, like, pay with a check
on.
and then have an attitude about the person being like, I'm not sure. Like, that's the problem for me. Not like, fine, pay for a check, whatever. If you don't, if you're like, there's plenty of people who are like, nope, I don't want a debit card. It gets, you know, I've gotten into trouble with credit cards, so I don't want to be able to swipe away. Like, that's totally fine for me. I get it. Like, whatever. Like, do what you have to do to manage your finances. But, like, then to be like, this person doesn't know how to handle my money. Like, no. You
Yeah,
could have
don't
just
turn to
paid
me for the
with
camaraderie.
dollar
Like-
bills and done this a normal way. You chose
Hey,
the
guess what I'm
third
about to do?
option. Yeah.
Also, if you're that intense about wanting to use a check, then use your fucking debit card. Like,
I mean-
same concept. So yeah,
Yes.
it just it makes me real salty. So I'm okay being in line as long as it's moving. If it's still,
When sitting for a test, how often do you find yourself thinking about something other than the question you're supposed to be answering?
I would say about 30 to 40 minutes in. I make my first wave through. I answer all the ones that I absolutely know. And then I'm like, fuck. Now what am I going to do? Now I got to answer the rest of these questions. I have to think about them. I have to torment myself. Yeah, that's when I really hit the wall. I'm good for like the first half hour. I can concentrate and get through the ones that I know that I feel good about. And then I start doing things like giving myself a score based on the ones that I think I got wrong.
That's healthy.
Yeah. Tune in for more anxiety tips.
What has been hard for you about working in an office?
Everything. Like every bit of it. The having to be someplace every day. Very hard. Fluorescent lights. Fluorescent lights should be the top like 5 points. Not being, I don't like the distraction. Like there's just like a lot of people, a lot of noise. My desk phone would be ringing. I've got Teams messages coming in. Like it was like constant, just constant like interruption. Whereas I feel like working from home, you could get a little bit of like separation and maybe focus a little bit better. But man, the office, like, and also the bathrooms. The bathrooms are, I'm okay with public bathrooms if they're clean. These were not clean. And like 200 people shared 4 stalls, and that's not enough bathrooms for the size of the building. So I would say like bathrooms are also on that list. And the rushing in the morning. Like that was just always such a thing. Like it doesn't matter how early I got up or how prepared I was. Like I would have my stuff laid out and everything ready to go, and I would still be squeaking out the door right the exact time. I don't even know how it's possible. So like the rushing to work, like get it just the whole nine. The whole nine. Having to focus on something for 8 hours. Fuck. That's bad. That's bad for me.
How many times have you overshared? How many times have you overshared and then instantly regretted it?
Almost every conversation over 10 minutes that I've had for the last 30 years, I would say. I pretty much walk away from every situation like, oh, just shut the fuck up. Why did you say that? Again, tune in for more anxiety tips.
When was the last time you sat and watched a show without getting up to do a chore?
I was like, oh wait, last night I watched TV. I literally got up, wasn't hungry when I made the baby something to eat for dinner. So at like 8:30, I was like, now I'm hungry and I'm going to make myself a little bean and cheese quesadilla. So I did that in the middle of watching a show, but then wanted to be kept up to date on everything that was happening in the show. So I was like, hey, wait, who was that? Okay. All right. Okay. Wait, where are they? Where are they? I can't. The whole time. And my spouse was like, so I don't know. I don't know the last time I watched something without getting up the only time it might happen is like when I'm in bed, like about to go to sleep, because I don't follow the Harvard sleep hygiene tips.
No one does, because Harvard sucks.
Because Harvard eats dicks. But I will even get up and be like, all right, let me just brush my teeth and do this and then get back into bed. Okay, let me go do that. Like, it's even yesterday, I'm like just hanging out at home and my mom was like, do you want to sit? I was like, no, I'm good. That's all I do.
Why?
What do you mean, why? Do I seem like I'm tired? So I don't even know. I don't even know if I ever have. Maybe I have.
Have you ever eaten the same food for a long time and then you lose interest in that food entirely?
I was very late to the Uncrustable craze. Side note, did you know they never advertised Uncrustables?
What?
They never needed to.
I just bought like a 48 pack or whatever the hell of them.
That's what we do. And when I first, like when postpartum, like that was how I survived.
Yeah.
Eating Uncrustables. And then I got to the point, I literally went to eat one day and I was like, ugh, if I eat this, I'll throw up. Like, and even now, I can hardly stand them. I can eat them very infrequently because I overdid it. And I mean, maybe someday I'll be able to eat them again, but now I'm like, can't. And I swear to God, I literally, like, sometimes that's the only thing I would eat during the day. I would have like 1 or 2 Uncrustables throughout the day and like a clementine. And I'd be like, okay, breastfeeding, here we go. So, rough times.
And finally, how do you get to work on time?
This is when I sound like a fucking crazy person.
Yeah.
The night before.
Because apparently neurotypical people don't do this.
This is one of the times I will get really salty about having ADHD. I mean, not that I know that I have ADHD because I'm waiting to find out from this assessment, but
that's true.
I set out all of my bag is packed the night before. Everything I need to take with me to walk out the door is all together in a chair or on the table or something. And I usually have my food prepped for whatever I'm going to bring with me the night before. Coffee's prepped the night before. And then in the morning, like say I get up at 6, at 6:20, I have an alarm that goes off in all caps that says, don't be late. And I snooze it. And I snooze it the whole time I'm getting ready because I know at each 9-minute interval where I should be in my routine so that I know when the one goes off at like 6:54 or whatever it is, that I need to be like walking out or like have my shoes on. And I also will not, like, if I get a text message or anything comes in, unless it's like I know it's like a work thing, it doesn't get answered because I won't get out the door on time if I'm checking it. But I like literally have to push myself through my morning routine, and my clothes are also usually picked out the night before. So like I literally have to make it where there's no brain power needed. Like I just need to get myself out the door. But I have to do all of those things to get myself out the door. So I'm just so curious if I have ADHD.
Yes, let me calculate. Beep, 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 beep. Yes, you have ADHD.
Damn.
It's pretty bad.
I was suspicious. I had my hunch. I had my gunk hunch. No, what is it? Gump.
My gunk hunch.
Katie's gonna start referring to her.
They're never gonna
that way.
They're never gonna sponsor us now.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Specs. Sorry, Specs.
So this person sent in two voice memos. One is in general, and then one is special just for you.
Hi, Garrett. This is Katie's cousin, Kelly, one of her 51 cousins or whatever. I think in the order, I'm anywhere from like number 7 to number 20. I don't know, because whatever, too many. Happy 100th episode. I figured you're on like episode 96, so that's about time for me to record this before it's too late. You all are the best. You make my commute into work every Thursday absolutely full of laughter and me just screaming random things as I'm driving down the highway. So, woohoo on 100. Here is to 100 more.
I love these! And this one, it's for you and also our editor.
Hey Garrett, this is Kelly. I am your lifelong Bitly stan, the only person who listens to this podcast using YouTube Music, and one of Katie's 51 cousins. And while I didn't write a biography on Harry Houdini or do neuroscience, I am a school librarian, so that means I can be an expert on anything you want me to be, from gangrenous flappy doodles to, I don't know, copyright law, maybe. But anyway, I just want you to know how much joy you all bring me. You're the queens of my morning commute on Thursday mornings. You keep me laughing and yelling random shit in my car, especially when you do those evil would you rathers. So happy 100th episode.
I love it. This is so great. Oh. This is the best.
Yeah, it was really fun. What?
This is the problem.
Cool.
Is now I'm gonna need things like this more routinely. I'm just gonna need people to like send me little vocal compliments directly, regularly. Thank you for my self-esteem, because I'm really enjoying this. Thank you.
I knew you would. I'm so glad it worked.
I love it. It's so great. It's so great. Yeah, it's that's like the gif of the little girl with the
cotton candy.
Yeah, thank you. The cotton candy and her like overstimulation face. That's how those make me feel. It's like a sugar rush.
Yes.
Like I've never done Coke, but I'm assuming that's what Coke is like, right?
Probably. I don't know.
Katie's
I've also
expert,
never done
right?
it. I've also never done it. I do know somebody who said that they've done it and that, quote, didn't really feel any different. So I just didn't see the point in doing it. And I was like, do you think maybe you have ADHD? and that the stimulant didn't affect you the way it was affecting everyone else. And they were like, anyway, and like moved on with the conversation.
Okay, so let me tell you. I do know somebody with ADHD who has done coke. And they said to me they felt like the best version of themselves. That's why.
It's a stimulant.
My mind is blown. That never occurred to me. It's kind of like when I was talking to my therapist and she was like, oh yeah, like, so smoking pot slows down your brainwaves. So you have normal brainwaves. And I was like, excuse me? It does what now?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the same thing where I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that. Not that it's ever come up and I've ever been offered or ever been in a situation where I could, but
I think it's very clear why we've never been offered it, based on our assessment and, results and answers to those questions. It's fair.
yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, whale facts is not my forte, but I do a good fact dump. I mostly just do it to my spouse. He's heard a lot about worm composting lately. The worms.
The worms. The worms are hungry. They yearn. They yearn for more worms.
The worms are yearning for more worms because they're hungry. My worms are not cannibals, Katie.
You don't know that.
They eat.
Have
my
you done a
food
head
scraps. I haven't. I bought 500. They send them to you in a little bag.
Dumb and Dumber when he's like, I got worms. That's what we're going to call it.
I did look at my spouse and I was like, you can start a worm farm? And he was like, okay. I was like different kinds of worms. And he's like, uh-huh. Wow.
Yeah, it's that thing where like your partner says something to you and you're like, but why are you telling me this?
Why are you so interested in this?
Yeah, like I want to know where you think we're going with this idea before I show any sort of interest or enthusiasm, because I don't need you to think that I think it's an okay thing.
How we approach those thoughts is, who is this we you're talking about? Is it you and the mouse in your pocket? That's how my spouse lets me know he's not interested in doing something. It's me and the mouse in my pocket.
That's fair.
Well, this has been
Now you have a mouse in your pocket.
And I've got my testicle grump. My testicle grump. My grundle grump to sit. I wonder if it can sit on my shoulder like a little grump, like a little grundle grump.
They'll probably start making bigger ones. It's a newer like thing from them, so they'll probably make bigger ones because they have big specs that are like large. Like you get 3 huge magnetic balls instead of a bunch of little ones.
So they're like those Benoit balls.
Are those the ones that like you massage in your hand?
No.
Oh, I don't know what a Benoit ball is. Is it something grotesque?
Yeah.
Should I Google it when I'm at work?
Only at work. Only at work. It's surprising because this is the person who yelled out facts about a merkin for everybody. So it's surprising that you don't know Benoit balls. I have to
When
say.
did I yell out about a merkin?
There's been we have probably 200 hours of recorded.
Okay, so I was thinking of just the ones that like they used to sell at like Claire's or whatever. But like they made like a ringing noise, and it was like like you would
I know the ones you're talking
fidget
about.
with them.
You fondle them.
Yes. But these are magnetic from Specs. They're never going to sponsor us.
They have to.
They ought to
do it. I have my grundle grump.
Stop calling it that. They're never gonna sponsor us.
But I have my humpalump.
You know how we had to edit it every time we said clam strips? Like, it's the same
We have this thing in our house where it's so stupid. My spouse will be like, "What is that called?" If he can't remember the name of something, and he'll say a ridiculous name, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." So, what is that called? Diaper face? Yep, it's called diaper face. That's exactly what it's called. So that's what this will be. What is this called? A grumble dump? And he'll be like, "Yep, grumble dump." And it's not.
It's my grundle.
It's my grundle boob, because it looks like a boob.
Does look a little bit from some angles.
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
As somebody who had trouble nursing because they had flat nipples, it really looks like a boob.
Well, now we know what Garrett's nipples look like, folks.
They're flat.
Tune into Patreon, I guess.
It's really, if anybody's breastfed with flat nipples, it's a tough road. It's a tough time. Nobody wants to hear anymore.
I'm
about
sorry
nipples,
to break your ADHD diagnosis to you, but somebody had to do it. And I thought
really
after 100
sad.
episodes, we finally needed to come clean with each other.
That's true. And our listeners.
And the listeners.
Yes,
the listeners
should
needed to know
that-
too.
That we've
hidden it from them for too long.
We have. And, Katie really needed to be diagnosed by a frog doctor, and I really needed to be diagnosed by a lawyer. So it's a really good thing we did that in our highly scientific testing strategy. I mean, if this was going to be a greatest hits reel, Katie's whale noises would have to be like the first thing on there.
I would think so.
That me saying, and I'm Garrett, and then just like looking off into the distance and forgetting everything that was told to me. Before we started recording, we're like, all right, so we have an agenda. Like we have like 4 things we have to accomplish when we record. I had to write them down because I knew we were going to start recording and I was going to blank on what the order of operations was. So,
And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, no, you guys have done this for 100 episodes. You don't need to do that. When we had to announce that Garrett was pregnant, I threw the mic to her and was like, so we have to make an announcement, and just stared at her. And she was like, yep. And then she didn't say anything. So if you go back and listen to that episode, it's, well, we've got an announcement. And Garrett goes, yeah, we sure do. And then silence. Because I wasn't going to announce her pregnancy for her. I don't know. Do we have an announcement?
I've handled all of those things really well.
With grace. Like
Grace
Miss
and
Congeniality.
Not awkward at all.
No.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, it's been a really, I can't believe we've been doing it for 2 years.
I know. That's wild.
Because we started like recording our first episodes 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's fucking wild. What a time.
I know.
And now we've got, we hit our, really like at the 1 year mark, we hit our 10,000.
Yeah, we're over
downloads.
20,000 downloads right now. And we've got sponsors and Instagram followers. And we've got new computers to record on. We've got new mics.
There's been some bumps in the road. Okay.
We did some troubleshooting, but we got there.
We did. I think we should have a little bow for our editor for listening to 200 hours of us and editing us and keeping us from accidentally getting canceled because we come out with some too wild for pod shit.
Yeah. As we go on, we remember all the times we've had together.
This
Vitamin
is one of
C.
those, you just wait and see how long she'll go.
As our lives change, Come whatever, we will still be friends forever.
Not true, by the way. Not accurate. Vitamin C.
Hurtful.
Friends from high school?
Oh, I thought you meant to me.
Oh, no.
Okay, mean.
But just trying to celebrate our 100th episode. What the fuck is your problem?
See you next season, I guess, bitch.
It's the same thing that when our computer screens froze, we both thought the other one was giving we thought we were giving each other dirty looks, and we both got mad at each other like, fuck you too. I thought it was a good point. Whatever. I'm like, oh, the computer was frozen. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, what a crazy, unhinged 2 years it's been.
Really has
And
been.
after 100 episodes, to find out that we have ADHD is, I'm blindsided by this information.
Yes.
stunned.
And just, I guess it should have gone without saying, but just in case it wasn't clear, we made up these assessments for each other, folks. These are not diagnostic questions.
No.
That
We're
should
not
be relied on
professionals.
as if they were medical diagnostic
No.
information. This was for entertainment purposes only.
A doctor would not have Jiminy Glick in their question.
No, but they ought to. So maybe
They
we'll
should.
be a footnote in the new DSM when the next edition comes out.
I would shit my pants. This is like when we were talking about being nominated in the mental health category, like in quotes. They're like, no, this is the mental illness category.
Yeah, so starting August 1st, you'll be able to vote for us for the Women in Podcasting Awards. We're in the mental health category, quote unquote. So yeah, from August 1st to October 1st, you'll be able to vote for us. So we'll have lots of posts about it, but don't forget, and definitely vote for us. Or else I'll have a tantrum like I just did about it, I guess.
And make sure that you're following us on social media so that when we do get closer later this year to our new season dropping, you can know when it's coming. You can be prepared, just like Scar said.
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to be stuck there like the dumb hyena Ed, not knowing what's going on.
No, you want to be prepared like Scar and know that the episodes are coming.
Yeah. But to that end, reminder of our announcement, Patreon for $5 a month. You do get these ad-free extended and video episodes, but even during our seasonal breaks, Patreon will continue to get bonus episodes at least once a month. So if you still want ankle high content in our off season, then join Patreon for $5 a month. You'll get added to our close friends list on Instagram, and you'll get goodies from us in the mail, and all that crap. And we have merch at bit.ly/anklehighmerch. Our socials are on Instagram and Threads at the bar is ankle high. We're on TikTok at ankle high pod. We are also on Facebook, but I really don't check our Facebook page that often. Make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to us anywhere that you find our podcast. Anywhere that you can write out a review, like on Apple Podcasts, is extra special helpful. And we like when you do that because it makes us feel good. And it's basically like sending a voice memo to Garrett every time you write out a review.
Yeah, same concept. Yeah.
You know, you could do that and make Garrett happy like she was today.
Yeah.
So, you know, just consider it is her birthday.
That's true.
So you gotta.
As a birthday gift to me.
And yeah, that's all I have for announcements. Until next season.
We are going to take a break.
Hold on.
And rest.
He's not listening to me.
That's okay. I got to go potty anyway.
Okay. Until next season. You know, maybe sign up for a real assessment.
Yeah, find a real assessment. And keep an eye out for a new season of The Bar is Ankle High later this year, and we will come back to you refreshed.
Yeah, because the bar is ankle high.
Enjoy your summer.
Bye.